Thanks for coming to watch. I am going to show you today how to make some Christmas crackers for your table at Christmas. But obviously they don't actually have to be just for Christmas. They could be used for giving gifts and things like that, and you'll see what I mean as we go through the session. We are going to make a round cracker first. I've got a couple of variations. I've got a square one, a triangle and a round one. So today's first one we're going to do is a round one. This is the end result that we're going to aim to get towards. I have some lovely design series paper, lovely little round cracker. I haven't actually got any of the pulls inside because it's more designed for a display cracker rather than a pulled cracker. What you can do though is store some lovely little treats inside if you wanted to have these as a centerpiece for your table. Just open inside, fits a lovely perfect size for a little bottle of hand gel or bubble bath. It can be male or female. Pop that in. The other thing as well it can fit is a bottle of liqueur. We found that the shampoo will also fit inside if you wanted to put alcohol inside for the table. So that's a nice little bonus there. So it's up to you what you wanted to pop inside, but I'm going to put the hand sanitizer back in there and just the ribbon round. And again, these can be reused each year, so rather than the disposable ones that we buy each Christmas, we can reutilize these each time. So I'm just going to pop that one to one side. So what you're going to need for today's cracker is a sharp pair of scissors, your bone folder, some glue, also some double-sided sticky tape, especially when we're making it with a card cracker rather than a paper cracker, and some ribbon or some string to be able to tie your cracker together at the end to hold your little surprises inside. So let's get cracking. Get it? Huh? So we start off with a piece of A4 card. I've written all the instructions for you down there again on a post-it note, so you'll be able to see. Pause it at any time when you watch the replay to be able to get the measurement. So a standard piece of A4 card. I've picked here Poppy Parade, so to match the designer series paper that I'm going to be using, which is the houses, but actually I'm only going to use this side for today's one, but I might actually cut out some of the houses to pop on for decoration. I haven't decided yet. So on the longest side of the piece of A4 card, we're going to score at 2, 3 and 4 inches to start with, and I'm going to use my trimmer today with the scoring that's on there. So I'm going to go and make sure we've got the scoring blade 2, 3 and 4 inches. Turn it round 180 degrees and do exactly the same again. So 2, 3 and 4 inches, and there we have our basic score lines that we need to use in this particular cracker, our card, and we used our bone folder, and we need to do a couple of things. The first thing we're going to do is make the middle score line what we call a valley fold, so it goes down and back on itself. We then go back on ourselves there to create the mountain and back over again and score so we get it like a V shape like that. Repeat the same on this side. So make our valley fold and then our mountain fold, back on ourselves and valley fold. So we have a piece of card that looks like that in the end. Okay, from there what we do is we take our folds, and this is going to be the inside of the card of the cracker. We take our fold over, so our valley fold is down, and we take a sharp pair of scissors and we create lots of little V's just going up and down. And what this is going to do, this is going to be able to make the edge where we tie our little bit of ribbon to make them look pretty and to hold everything that's inside the cracker inside the cracker. Just need some sharp little snips. Okay, so that's one side, and then we do exactly the same on the other side. Fold it up, bend our card round and cut our little triangles in again. You need to make sure that we leave this bit here on the edges, and we have a nice little bit of fold there still, and we don't cut into too much, because otherwise the ends will fall off and we don't want that to happen. So we keep cracking like this, snipping. Now the beauty of making these crackers is that they're made of much thicker card than you might normally get in your Christmas crackers, and they can reuse them. And with today's society of our throwaway, it's actually not a bad idea at the moment. So that is our base card for our cracker. What we're going to do now is we're going to decorate it before we actually put it together, because it's much easier that way. So we need here, get our trimmer out again, just pop the base to one side, get my trimmer out, and I need some designer series paper that is 8 1/4 inch by 3 1/2. So I'm going to make this 8 1/4 inch by 3 1/2 inches. Okay, and then I'm going to do a slightly different colour on the other side. On the edges, that's going to go in the middle of centre of the cracker, and then on the outside 2 edges I want 2 strips of 8 1/4 by 1 3/4. So that's 1 strip there, and do our other strip there. And I'm just going to move those to one side. Bring back in my card base. Okay, so from here we get our glue. A liberal amount on. Again, don't forget, because it's that Tombow glue, it's nice, and because it's wet, it means it can slide, so you can level it off slightly, or easier. Square it up. And then pop that one in the middle. And again, obviously you can use whatever papers you wanted or whatever colour scheme you wanted to go for. So if your Christmas decorations on your table was going to be bright pink and purple this year, you could pick the coordinating colours. Right, now we're going to put this together, so we need some double-sided sticky tape. Tear and tape, so line it up on the far edge, as close to the edge as possible, and tear it off. Sometimes you can use Tombow glue, but because it's round, it has a habit of pinging back open. So the first thing we're going to do is just slowly tease the card to soften it slightly, because it needs to go round. You can roll it round a tin of beans if you want to. I just try and roll it a couple of times so that it holds its shape. If anything, this is possibly the hardest part of the card to make it stay together. When you're ready, take off your tape, roll it up and line up the edges. As you go down, it should hopefully be matched at the end. It's quite tricky to get the inside bit stuck there. So I tend to use my bone folder and pop that in because I can't fit my hand quite in, and then wedge it down that way. So that is then our big fat round Christmas cracker. From there you need to get some ribbon and tie the ribbon round the outside edge. It's so quick and easy to make if you're thinking of an evening, something to do with the kids as well, to make some Christmas crackers with the children. Obviously don't tell them what you're going to put inside, but they could help you with the main bits. The ribbon that I've cut here, I've actually cut it 17 inches long, 2 pieces of 17-inch long ribbon. This one's out of our old catalogue a couple of years ago now. Again, it still coordinates quite nicely with all the papers that we have. So there is one Christmas cracker. You can also add a few more bits of twisty bits and stuff, and what I've done here is I've got a on this one you can see here I've put joy and cheer, and that's used a die from the square dies, rectangle dies, sorry, where you run it through the cut and emboss machine, and it gives you a nice little cut edge around the outside. So you could, if you want to do freehand, matching pen, and just write your name. So we'll have, who should we have this one for? We'll have this one for Caitlin. Caitlin. And you can just pop that on, and that could be used as a table setting for somebody. Just going to get my mini 3-dimensional dots to stick it on. And there we have just a place setting, a quite quick, simple, easy place setting for the Christmas table. That's one round one, that's 2 round ones. Here's another idea just to so you can see the difference in terms of colour schemes that I've done there. So this one was using garden green, real red, and the DSP from Trim in the Town. This one used Poppy Parade and again the DSP, but it's the Misty Moonlight. And here I used Old Olive, and this is some old DSP, but it's different colour schemes again because you've got the blue in there, I like light blue. So that's our large round cracker. So I'm going to move those to one side, and I'm going to show you now how to make a large square cracker. Now, I mentioned before that crackers don't have to just be for Christmas, so I did this one using the Peony Designer Series paper. It is available in the main catalogue, and some lovely little white ribbon, but you could quite easily pop in some box of chocolate, a little bag of chocolates. You could put some tissue paper in there, wrap some socks or something if you wanted to. So I'm just going to show you how to do this one because it's slightly different in terms of how you make it fold at the edges. So let's get started on that one. This one uses 12 by 12 paper, and we have this one is, I'm going to use, I can't remember what it's called now. It's from the Autumn Winter catalogue, but I love the way it shines. It's got the bit of rose gold, and it's got a bit of gold colour on it. It's actually, you could possibly use that for Christmas because it's still quite autumnal. So with our 12 by 12 paper, we are going to get, oh actually we could, this is going to be what I would class as a Christmassy one, but if I wanted to do like a man's square cracker for a man's present, you could turn it over and use the brown side, or the early espresso and crumb cake, I think that one's called. So let's get our designer series paper. Needs to be 12 inches by 10.5 inches, so cut one of the sides to 10.5. Put a piece of paper to the side. Then on the 10.5 inch side, so keep the paper as it is, go back, and we're going to make sure that we use the, get rid of the cutter, because we want the the scoring blade, and we're going to score that at 2.5. 5, 7.5, and 10.5. Oh, why did I cut that at 10? 10.5. There we go. Can't read my instructions. Turn it 90 degrees, and we're going to score it 2, 2 3/4, and 3 1/4. So that's 2, 2 3/4, and 1/4. Turn it around 180 degrees, put it back in again, and we're going to do exactly the same from this end now, scoring at 2, 2 3/4, and 3.5. I've done that one wrong. I can see, as I was saying myself there, can you see that score line is too close? There, so I'm just going to go back in and do that score line again, but in the right place. So I want 3.5. Okay. So I'm going to pop the trimmer to one side. And we're going to, I'm just going to try and get rid of my score line that I did there slightly, because I don't need it. So just use my bone folder just to soften it back out again. See, even though it's live, accidents do happen, mistakes happen. Okay, so which side shall we do for our cracker? I'm going to do the nice shiny side, seeing as it's for Christmas. So again, remember our same folds as we did before. So a valley fold for the middle one, come back on itself for a mountain fold, and it should be in the right place to make a mountain fold there. Use our bone folders to make it nice and tight. Do exactly the same there. So we start with a valley fold in the middle one, bring the back one to make a mountain fold, and then that should make the back one into a mountain fold as well. Open it out. I'm just going to then make the other folds quite tight. I don't press too hard when I do the paper because it's a little bit thinner. I don't want to tear it. So just go nice and gentle with it. And then the last one is there for the edge. And this is where we're going to put our glue or our tape. Okay, so we've got the basis of our cracker again from one piece of paper. We're going to fold it over to our valley fold, and then you can see there we've got the divider. This is actually going to be quite tricky. I'm going to fold it the other way for now for the purposes of the camera, so you can see where the folds are. I need my punch that I've lost. There it is, found it. So for this one, you get a little round punch. You could cut it yourself manually if you wanted to with squares, but I'm going to make it nice and circular at this particular point. So I'm going to go in. I'm not sure if you can see the folds there. I'm just going to pause a minute while I can see what you can see in the camera on my iPad. So we're going to come up. You can't see. Can you see now? Is that better? I think so. So it's sort of centered on the fold there, and then punch out and go across to the same and do exactly the same on the other one. Punch them out and exactly the same there. And then last two on this side. Again, don't forget to do this end. This one's a bit odd because you feel like you're only doing a quarter. And then we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. Go up and centered. Centered. Right, I can see what's happened to my piece of paper here where I've gone too hard and it's torn slightly, but hopefully it won't make too much difference with the end result. Okay, so now we have a lovely piece of paper with some holes in. Okay, take our double-sided tape And let's pop the tape on the edges where we were before. And from there, tear and tape. I'm going to peel them off. Top layer off so the tape's left behind, and then flip it over, bring that one in, and just bring this side over. And this one's much easier to put together than the circle one because you can actually lie the paper down flat. So that is the base of the square cracker, and if you fold it in there and where we've done our fold lines or score lines, it should give you a little bit of a concertina effect. So there is a lovely little Christmas cracker. That'd be quite nice on the table. And then it's up to you how you want to decorate it. I've got some lovely lace ribbon here that I can use to tie up. So I'm going to measure 17 inches for each one of those. Again, this is a slight old ribbon. Some lovely new ribbons in the catalogue now. Put that to one side. Tie these round. Quite a vintage looking cracker there, or table decoration or Christmas present, birthday present, however you want to utilise that cracker. Obviously if you wanted to do it the other way round, you've then got the brown colour card. Because this is paper as well, make sure you don't tie this too tightly, because otherwise the paper will rip. And you obviously don't want that after you spent the time making them. So there's our other little square cracker. So that's 2 square crackers. Okay. Whistling on. I'm now going to show you how to make one more cracker today, quite a large one. I'm going to make a triangular one. So again, you could utilise this one as a table decoration if you wanted to. It will fit in the same bottles of Body Shop miniatures or miniature alcohol miniatures, or even if you wanted to, getting the table ready, some hand sanitizer. You could pop a little bottle of hand sanitizer in there. That's assuming we're all allowed to meet, but we'll see. So let's pop the instructions for the large triangle one there. Put those to one side. The other one I did there was, I thought you could possibly do it for table favours as well, if you wanted at weddings, for example. So I've just done a black one here with some of the Peony Designer Series paper. Again, you could take one of your labels that we cut out earlier and use that as a name for the nameplate where you could write the people's names on. So I thought it was quite pretty. So let's make a red one. I'm going to make one that's just like that with no Designer Series paper. So this is basically an A4 piece of paper, and you can make that with anything, or A4 piece of card, sorry. So let's get making that one. Some slightly different techniques with this one, so I'm just going to bring in the equipment I'm going to use for this one. Same principle as before, A4 piece of card. We're going to score on the short side 2.5 inches. Five inches, 7.5 inches. I'm going to turn it around 90 degrees, and we're going to score at 1 3/4, 2.5, and 3 1/4. Turn it around, do exactly the same as before. So again, 1 3/4, 2.5, back there, and 3 1/4. Okay, so that's our basis for our triangular card, triangular cracker. Do the same as we did before. We're going to create a valley fold, mountain fold, bend it over in a mountain fold. Twist it round and do exactly the same again. So valley fold, mountain fold, and a mountain fold. That's our sides, and this is our longer edges. And then one more there. Just making sure all our folds are tight. We're going to use our scissors again like we did for the first one that we did the round one. Take our valley fold over and just snip away. Oh, this one's slightly different. Sorry, we're going to go in to the and make triangle shapes, quite deep triangle shapes this time. The idea is you have probably about 1/4 to 1/5 of the space there when it closes up. See how these are much bigger or deeper triangles than we did when we did the round one. And we'll do the same again on this side. The last one. Okay, so those bits away and put them in the bin. So from here we have our base card. Now this one we're going to do slightly different. We need to decorate this one again before we put it together. So I'm going to take my double-sided tape and pop that on already. Tear and tape. You could use the the seal glue tape if you wanted to. The super strong one though, because we're doing a 3D project. I'm going to use my tree angle one because I'm going to make this one into a Christmas one. I've already mounted up my ink pad, my stamp onto a acrylic block. I'm going to use some Whisper White ink here. And I'm going to make my decoration. Now this one we need to think about how it's going to look when it's on the table because it sits as a triangle shape. So when we put it together, you would normally put that at the bottom. So that's going to be one side and that's going to be the other. Now if we put, you'll see what I mean in a minute, I'm going to actually reverse my stamped image on this one. So here I'm just going to have my Christmas tree. But on this side, I want it the other way around and I'm going to put my Christmas tree there. So when we stand it up, it looks like it's the right way up on both sides. And then I'm going to take my Merry Christmas and pop that there. And I'm going to turn it round for this one, because it's going to be the other way round, and Merry Christmas there. And then just a few more little baubles. These stamps are all from the tree angle stamp set. Now the next thing I did was to give it, it's still a bit flat as a card goes, as a cracker goes for Christmas. So I'm using my champagne mist inky type stuff, I suppose, shaking it in the lid and taking my aqua painters. I'm just going to lift some water off and I'm just going to colour in lightly the Christmas tree to give it some sparkle. Do it on the other one as well, the other side. I'm not sure if the sparkle's picking up on the camera very well. And I'm going to give the little bubbles a little bit of a bling as well. Okay, a little goes a very, very long way with this champagne mist. Normally you'd leave that to dry, but for the sake of the camera today, I'm not going to. The time we've got now, take off the double-sided tape. And again, this one's much easier to put together because it's square rather than round. If you find that you've cut your triangles and they don't marry up there, just cut them off because you won't see them on this side. So fold it over, line it up, stick it down. fold it over, line it up, you can actually squish together, and there. So there you have a lovely little quick Christmas cracker, and again you can fit, say, a lovely little hand sanitizer in, as long as it doesn't come straight through the bottom. Squeeze it down. If you didn't want to put the ribbons together, it will actually stay shut like that without any ribbons. So that's another little trick, quite a handy trick if you didn't want to do the ribbons, and it's quick access to get the stuff out. But I'm going to pop just some plain red ribbon, but if you wanted to do some contrasting ribbons, you could pick whatever colour you wanted really to go with this. I'm going to pick some old, again, this was crumb cake ribbon from a couple of years ago, but it'll marry in with the colour of the shimmer from the Champagne Mist. Again, 17 inches, but a really quick and simple way to jazz up the Christmas table rather than just doing the names that you might do on a piece of paper. They look quite good as a group. So there we have our small red square triangle cracker. Again, you can do the same if you wanted to. You could pop the names on, you could put a lot more. I've given you the DSP measurements in this post note here in the instructions. When I post it online, I'll make sure you've got that on, so you can jazz it up like I did with the black one here, if you wanted to do it that way. So you've got the measurements to put it for the black and keep going a bit more decoration on. So that is your triangle one. So we've had a square, a round and a triangle cracker, but all large. So my last one I'm going to show you is a small round cracker that you will be able to pop in. You can't fit in there's bottles of alcohol in this unless you find a really, really small one. I haven't found one that I can fit in, but you would be able to fit in it like 2 Frere Rochers, for example. So if you wanted some after dinner things to take out with the drinks, then these are what we're going to make now. These just utilise 6x6 DSP paper or paper. Same principle as the bigger one, but we're just obviously making the measurements slightly smaller. So we're going to score this one at 3/4. Three quarters, 1 1/4. There, and 1 3/4. If I come over across, you'll be able to see the measurements a bit better. Save me covering them. And then turn it round and do exactly the same measurements on the other side. Three quarters of an inch, 1 1/4, and 1 3/4. Okay. Put this trimmer away. Oh, same as we did before. Valley fold on the middle one. Mountain, mountain. The same on this side. So we're going to have valley fold in the middle, mountain, mountain. On the inside, turn it round so that you've got the seam like that. And again, we'll just do our little triangles. These could also be deemed as table decorations for with the name on if you wanted to do that, if you didn't want quite such big crackers in the middle of the table. Or these would be great for putting on the Christmas tree. Or Advent, you could number them 1 to 25 if you haven't got your Advent calendar yet, and just put a little chocolate inside for the kids to find on the tree if you put your tree up on the 1st of December. I know lots of people are thinking of doing that this year because of how depressing COVID's been, and try and bring some normality back into our lives. Okay. So you could sit and do these. If you've pre-done them, you could sit and cut these out while you're watching the telly. I'm a celeb at night time or something like that. Whatever tickles your fancy, really. Let's get all those out. Put that light in the bin. Oh, I've gone through the paper there. So I'm going to actually have my gold and my brass side as my showing. So I'm going to put my tear and tape on, make sure we do the right side, on the inside on the stripes, but you pick whichever colour you fancy, which side you like the best. And from there, pull that off. It's just like easier to make round because it's a lot softer than the card was. So just make it into a round to start with, and then stick together. And because it's slightly smaller, you can actually press the insides, whereas the larger one we did with the card, you have to use the bone folder to press it together. And there is your lovely little cracker for the table. A little bit of ribbon. That's the wrong colour, we don't want that one. Let's get our nice one we had earlier. Don't need quite as much of this because it's slightly smaller. 10, might be too small, but we'll see. And there you have a little one for the Christmas tree or the table, or however you want to put them around. So there we are. Okay, I hope that's given you some inspiration to make your own Christmas table decorations or tree decoration crackers. Any questions? Once I pop this on the Facebook, I'll put all the measurements into the information below so you've got them to hand. But enjoy and have fun making. Many thanks for watching. Bye.